Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. I didn't know this until I grew up. Didn't discover this until an experience I had with nature. I grew up, well, maybe not, most of you won't know now because a lot of you knew, but I grew up in Washington, D.C., Southeast, mostly black neighborhood. It wasn't mostly, it was all black neighborhood. In a small duplex, two-bedroom apartment. And, back then we didn't have social media, we didn't have smartphones. We had outdoors. And in the city, basically most parents told their kids to leave and don't come back till the street lights come on. But you had to be in by the time the street lights came on. And sometimes I'd be a little late and I could hear my mother from the balcony say, "John Cresswell!" I could hear her clear across the neighborhood. And I come running. But it was mostly safe. We spent our time on our playground and running and chasing each other through the neighborhood. Life was, I guess we would call it, simple. We didn't think about much else other than playing in our neighborhood, not about the world around us at all. Behind my apartment complex was a stretch of woods that separated my apartment from a busy parkway, Suitland Parkway, and across from that, another area of a bunch of communities similar to mine. And so the woods became another distraction, a place for adventure for us. And the woods had a well-worn path. So many had walked this path. That was mostly what we stuck to with our games, but every now and again we would venture out into the forest. And it was in those woods that I first encountered the natural world and the contradiction between the natural world and the human world. I remember sucking on honeysuckle plants, even though I was trusting that my friend knew it wouldn't kill me. I wasn't sure. I thought it odd that something sweet came from nature. Go figure. That's what I thought. Huh. Everything sweet was in the grocery store. We picked berries. I'm not sure if they were all good for me. And, nature revealed itself in these moments. And there were the secrets kept in the woods as well. The secrets of what humans do when nobody's watching. Some of my secrets, like humans dropping bottles and cans and plastic wrappers and other stuff, just discarded and left behind. I noticed that. And my secret, that I found an old cigarette in the woods and smoked it. Probably not smart to smoke a discarded cigarette, but I did. And I had my first kiss in those woods. It was wet and awkward. But we were curious kids. The woods is so full of natural life, but there was a contradiction for me there. That humans were not always conscientious. I wouldn't have used that word back then. Aren't always thoughtful when it comes to nature, conservation. That they would use this beautiful space as a dumping ground. Even back then, it bothered me. It felt out of place. Messy. That was my first experience with the environment and how human beings can sometimes treat their own environment. It shaped me. The woods should be a sanctuary, should have been a sanctuary. But something I felt beautiful was tarnished. I see those woods now as a symbol of the world we live in today. The earth is still beautiful, still full of life, but cluttered with the waste of our overconsumption. We live in a world, of course, driven by capitalism, a system that tells us we need more and more stuff and money and success. We become addicted to just buying and spending and accumulating, believing, happiness might just be in my next purchase. And sometimes it is for a short period of time. It's fleeting. You get the dopamine hit, and you need it again and again and again. And we just consume and consume. Get the next upgrade, the next shiny thing. But deep down inside, we know this is not where true happiness comes from. That's not my message this morning. But just like the trash doesn't belong in the woods, our overconsumption doesn't belong for us. It doesn't sit right for our souls. We're out of balance, driven by the idea that I must have more. But this is not a sustainable way of living. So our relationship with the environment is a reflection of our relationship with ourselves, with each other. Sometimes less is more. In the case of conservation, less is more. And when you get that, less is more. Less becomes more. When you get it, less becomes more. The more we overconsume, the more disconnected we become from the earth, from each other, from the divine. But what if we stopped? What if we just stopped, took a step back, reevaluated what we consume, why we consume, accepted an invitation from Spirit to live more responsibly, more mindfully, more in harmony with the natural world? Well, that's the invitation I'm offering you today. And in some ways, this message is to you, but it's really for the greater audiences outside of you that will perhaps hear this message. I think we UUs do get it, but we can do our part. We can do even more to think about what is it, how can I add, how can I be more sustainable in my life? When we harm the earth, we harm ourselves. And becoming responsible is not going back to some idyllic, more basic time in history, or where you have to reject, progress or technology, or you get on your high horse and you're always pointing your finger at other people. That's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about recognizing the limits you have, the limits that the earth has, and doing your part, how big or small. Because we just need everybody to do their part. Realizing that constant craving for more isn't sustainable. And that true happiness, true fulfillment does not come from what we consume, but how we choose to live, how we love, how we construct our world around us. And we know this wisdom from other cultures. We heard that from the reading from Chief Seattle, that the destiny of humanity is tied up with the destiny of the planet. And so that first step is always awareness, becoming aware. And then after you are aware of who and what you are as nature, as part of the environment, that you have an impact on that environment, then that next step is action. whatever small changes you can make, maybe buying less, maybe prioritizing businesses that move towards sustainability, spending more time with nature, reconnecting with simplicity, or having a difficult conversation with your family members or friends or colleagues about consumerism and capitalism and overconsumption. So my invitation this morning to you is to responsible living. The woods behind my childhood home, full of life, even amidst the trash, taught me that the earth is resilient, that I am resilient, that we have the power to heal, to restore, to reconnect. May we find the courage to live responsibly and to reconnect with the earth and to rediscover what truly matters. May it be so, and amen.